If we go into the presentation, I do have some forward-looking statements. You can read this at your leisure. But here's a snapshot of what the company is. We've heard about several companies here at the conference who are single-source projects, which is great. And those have certain opportunities, absolutely. But what we bring is a little different, and that is a portfolio of gold-based resources. In fact, some 12.5 million gold equivalent resource ounces and almost 10 million gold equivalent resource ounces in the inferred category. So combined, a very significant portfolio of some 7 projects, all in the Americas, gold-focused. But what sets us apart is we also have some $160 million in cash and equity holdings. That's mainly made up of shares we hold in Gold Royalty Corporation, a company we spun out of our portfolio some 4 years ago. We own about 13% of the shares in that company. And also U.S. Gold Mining Inc., a company created 2 years ago with a large project we have in Alaska, the Whistler project. We currently own about 80% of the equity in the shares in that company. So it's that significant holding of equities and cash, as well as a very large resource portfolio, really makes us a little bit unique and stand out from the rest of our peers. We can all talk about our management teams, and we have strength there too. But one other little bonus we have in our portfolio, few people know about, is that we also have one of the largest uranium properties in the Athabasca Basin on the Alberta side, which is waiting to be unlocked from our portfolio. It doesn't change our focus from being a gold company, as our name implies, but we can touch briefly on the uranium project as well. At a snapshot, who we are as a company, we've kept a very low share count over the years, been very prudent with our capital. Our last major public raise was in 2018, so we've been good stewards of capital. We have a number of companies providing analyst coverage, some very key shareholders here. Another thing that sets us apart, we have a dual listing. We have TSX listing, where the ticker symbol is very easy to remember. It's quite simply GOLD, gold. I understand there's a little company in the US that has that on the New York Stock Exchange called VRIC, but we pipped them first in Canada, so we have the GOLD in Canada. We also, about 3 years ago, added an NYSE American listing, GLDG, and you can see here from the trading volumes, the shares in the US trade about 5 times liquidity, 5 times the volume in the US they do in Canada, so that gives greater liquidity for our shareholders. The team, we've often heard about various teams and different management teams that have worked together for great success. Certainly at the forefront of that is the leadership of our company. Our founder and co-chairman, Amir Adnani, is a serial entrepreneur, a very successful entrepreneur. He's currently founded 5 companies, the largest of which was Uranium Energy Corp. It's a $3 billion company today. He has also created Uranium Royalty Corp. Gold mining has always been his prime vehicle for gold, which he started and founded. We brought David Garofalo in as co-chair 2 years ago now, and David led the largest gold mining gold industry merger in history when he merged Gold Corp and Newmont some 5 years ago now. We've also added to our team by bringing in technical experts from Newmont. Tim Smith, our VP of Exploration, came over a couple of years ago now, and as I like to tell people in the industry is that when I can recruit from the world's largest gold miner, and I'm a junior company, it doesn't necessarily mean I can afford to pay them more. I'm offering him the opportunity to explore and discover. And that's exactly what Tim does, and does it very well. I first met Tim after he made a major discovery in the Yukon for a company called Kaminak Gold. I happened to be at Goldcorp when we purchased that for $520 million. So a serial explorer with a serial portfolio of assets that got Tim very excited, and that's really part of the investment hypothesis for the company. Just quickly highlighting where are the assets, all in the Americas, 5 countries, Canada, US, Brazil, Colombia, and Peru, all established mining jurisdictions, all well known. The vast majority of the commodity exposure is to gold. It's over 80% valued by gold. But there's a very important component of copper there. So almost 20% of the value of the resources is through copper, and that's important because it's co-occurring with the gold. And copper is a very strategic metal when it occurs with gold for local stakeholders, local communities, and is part of course, the initiative that mining is in fact part of the solution for a greener economy, and copper is certainly a key component of that. We do have some silver, but in the big picture, it's not a material component of the portfolio. It is largely focused on gold. And of course, you can see one green dot in the center of Canada there, Rhea. That's in the Alberta side of the Athabasca Basin. That's a nice bonus optionality in a uranium property. So if we look at the projects themselves, if I had about 2 hours, I could tell you about all of them, so I won't do that. But what I can say is that within the resource portfolio, we have some 7 projects, each of which have more than 1 million gold equivalent ounces. One of the key ones that we have been active on lately is our San Jorge project in Brazil. And this is a project that's in a growing district. Many of you may be familiar with a company called G Mining. I think these guys are real rock stars in the industry. They've brought in the Tocantinzinho mine into production over the last year, on time and on budget. There's not many companies globally who can say that. They've really helped establish this region on the global stage. And I would give them credit for doing that in an area that had very poor infrastructure. So they have a fly-in camp, or you can go there very remotely via road and barge crossings over rivers. The advantage of our property in red is that we are adjacent to a major paved highway, and we have power line infrastructure from the mine development. So infrastructure, a major regional property with some 46,000 hectares of land area in a growing district that has seen some informal miners take out some 30 to 40 million ounces of gold over the last few decades. So it's a very exciting place to be. It's an area that we've focused some of our drilling on. This is a property map, and the highway will be just off the image on the right-hand side. It's got a good solid resource, about 700,000 ounces measured and indicated, which really we think is the tip of the iceberg. It's not the resource itself today that's exciting, it's the potential for finding additional materials. And that's really what our exploration has uncovered over the past year. We identified a core zone of mineralization here in the center of the deposit. We show one of our highlighted holes from 2024, over 160 meters at over 1 gram per ton. So good, solid, wide zones of mineralization coming right to surface with good infrastructure. It speaks well to being a future development project. But what got us even more excited, if we look at the regional side of this, is we stepped out and did a regional soil sampling program and identified an anomaly some 12 by 7 kilometers of footprint. That tells us we're dealing with a major system here, that the San Jorge deposit as we know it today only really reflects a very small portion of that, and the best is yet to come on this project. The holes that we did drill last year included step-out holes 1 kilometer from known mineralization. These are the holes just to the, they'd be located just to the west of the deposit here. The known mineralization here occurs just over 1 kilometer. We stepped over 1 kilometer away in an area with no known drilling, and we still intercepted mineralization some 10 meters at 0.7 gram per ton. So exciting growth potential in a growing district with multiple parallel splays and branches waiting to be uncovered as well. The second project, just to touch on briefly, is one that we've spun into a new vehicle, which we now own 80% of, which is U.S. Gold Mining Inc. This is advancing our Whistler Gold Copper project in Alaska. And I would encourage people to come visit us at our booth to learn more about this. But we put this back on the map after having it sit idle for more than 10 years. We launched it on the NASDAQ. We raised money to drill it. And we expanded the resource significantly in 2024. We more than doubled the measured and indicated. This is now a 10 million plus gold equivalent resource project, including drill holes in 2024 drilling 650 meters at 1 gram per ton right at surface. So extremely wide zones of mineralization, gold and copper, coming right to surface in a region that, by the way, the state of Alaska wants to build a road to help us access and develop for the future. Here's a copy of the resource statement here, and really what the photo is illustrating, that's the governor of Alaska. Very strong supporters of mining in the state. They want to see an economic development pipeline, hence why they're making investments into our road as well. I'm going to just jump forward here a couple of slides into one more Yellowknife project. This is one that has been in our portfolio for a number of years, ready to be uncovered this year. It's the former Tyee Resources. We acquired it from bankruptcy about 8 years ago now. It sat idle waiting for its opportunity, so the holding cost on this has been minimal. These are leased mining claims, so we can hold them for periods and waiting for the right opportunity. We now have the technical team to advance this. And I would just say that the model for discovery has been tested and proven extensively in Canada. You think of the last 20 to 30 years in Canada for major exploration discoveries, most of them, if not many of them, have come from high-grade underground historical mines that had great success with future modern exploration. You can look at that in cases of Red Lake. You can look at that in Kirkland Lake. You can even see that nowadays at Windfall Lake, which is a former high-grade underground mine. What our Yellowknife project has is the actual former discovery mine. And the discovery mine produced over 1 million ounces of gold at a grade over 1 ounce per ton gold and has not had any modern exploration on it. That to me speaks to being the tip of the iceberg of a major gold system waiting for some modern exploration. So stay tuned for news on our Yellowknife project as well. And I'll go forward one more slide to a final slide, which is the bonus project that comes with a gold portfolio, which is a major uranium property in the Alberta side of the Athabasca Basin. You can see the Athabasca Basin here. Many of the main known deposits are in Saskatchewan, and we have significant new discoveries here, just 70 kilometers to the east of us. This is our Rhea project here, straddling the Alberta boundary. And of course, many, as everyone here will know, the geological boundaries are not controlled by a provincial boundary. That's the opportunity here. That's why this has sat idle for so long. We've held it in a gold company since 2013, have done no work. We have known uranium targets in a district that's growing, has seen a lot of staking activity around us. 125,000 hectares. You couldn't acquire this today if you wanted to, so it's a good established project, great optionality to uranium we're waiting to unlock with work this year. We are currently going through a permitting exercise, consulting with the local stakeholders and First Nations, and updating technical reports to give us all options to make sure we extract value for this, which is largely buried within a gold company right now, but creates a value-enhancing opportunity for us. So that's a quick recap of Gold Mining Inc. I would encourage people to come visit us at our booth, answer any questions, and find out some more about a project-rich portfolio of assets with great optionality, good solid cash and equity holdings with a strong management team advancing projects in the Americas. Thank you.